Hey, welcome to today's vlog. If this is your first time here, I'm Amber. I make videos about kind of crunchy motherhood lifestyle and about trying to get pregnant with baby number 2. If you like that sort of content, please hit that little subscribe button down below. I'd love to see you around here more often. I haven't vlogged in a few weeks, and I feel like it is just progressively going to be getting harder because he is just more and more chatty, more and more active. Here he comes. You're here? I thought I would just take you along with me today. We did do our third and final IUI yesterday, and I'll update you in a little bit with all of the details surrounding that. I didn't vlog it though, just because of the fact that I already vlogged the first 2 IUIs pretty thoroughly, and I feel like it's kind of the same thing every single time. So like once you've seen it once, twice, you've seen the process. So I will talk to you about that in a little bit, but right now I need to go outside and tend to my garden because it's been getting so hot that that has to be a priority these days, as opposed to like getting in laundry and cleaning up around the house. So let's go. I'm gonna make myself a ramen for lunch. I know these are not the healthiest, but we have them, and honestly, they're so nostalgic. Like I love these low-key, but not low-key. Hold on. But I'm gonna spice it up with the radish greens from that radish I pulled from my garden. I didn't know this until just a few days ago, and I don't actually even remember what caused me to look this up, but radishes are completely edible, from the root to the greens to the flowers and the seeds. So I've been kind of wondering what I could do with the greens, and I figured this would be a good way to like test them out in something that I know I already like. The garden has been my happy place lately. I love it so much. It takes a bit more work than it did last year because there's just so many more things that I'm attempting to grow this year, but it's like good, I don't know, like good for the soul work. This is lettuce and mustard greens. We had to put this chicken wire around it because the squirrels have been digging in it a ton and they keep messing up all the progress. Here's one of the cherry tomato plants. I feel like when I planted it, I probably should have snipped off the tomatoes that it was starting to grow. I mean, now they're pretty much full grown, but I feel like of all the tomato plants I have, that's the only one that's not really thriving, and I think it's because it's putting more energy into producing the fruit than to actually growing, but it's okay. Here we have dwarf sunflowers. These 2 big pots are potatoes, and then I've got a variety of basil and carrots in these 2. All of these are just kind of experiments. The potatoes seem like they're doing great, but the variety of basil and the carrots, not so much. That's okay though. Here's Kai's garden bed. So in the back we have milkweed. I've planted some sage. I don't know if you can see that. I planted sage right there, and then on the other end. And then in the front here is Miss Jekyll, I think, but some of them died. It's okay. And all in the middle, I've got bergamot, but they're not really popping up. Here we have 3 different kinds of tomato plants, 2 like normal sized tomatoes and then a cherry tomato plant, 2 basils, a zucchini. This time I got my zucchini to sprout on the first try. Last year it took me like 6 tries. That is Elysium, I think. The raspberries look amazing this year. They are so bushy and we're already getting raspberries growing, so I'm really excited. Kai is going to be stoked. I have 2 pumpkin plants growing over here. I'm debating putting a 3rd one right there, but I'm not set on it. And then these are the exact same sunflowers that I grew last year. These are like tall ones. And this one right here, I actually didn't plant. That grew on its own from last year. The lavender is all doing really, really good. I actually harvested some, mostly from this plant, but also this one, so I'm drying it and I want to make some lavender syrup. We did have to create this metal, it's not metal, it's chicken wire cage for the strawberries because they are producing way, way more than last year, but we've only gotten to eat 1 strawberry ourselves because everything wants to get these. And then in this section, I have thyme, sage, a jalapeno, 2 bell peppers, chives, and some parsley growing right there, but the parsley's still really small, so that's why I have that little cover on it. And lastly, the radishes that you were seeing earlier. The fact that we also have a bird feeder and a bird bath back here just creates such a calming, peaceful environment. I love coming out here to check on the progress that my plants have made, to watch the birds, to listen to the wind chime. I love our backyard so much. Kai's still asleep, so I am just going to update you guys on our 3rd IUI out here. Sorry about any background noise. I already said earlier we did our 3rd and final IUI yesterday. When I started my period and started scheduling everything for this IUI, the nurse that called me had told me we could do a 4th one if we really wanted to. She said it just depends, and she was like, I've seen it all. Some people go on to do more than 3 IUIs and end up getting pregnant, but with every IUI you do, your chances just keep on going down, and technically, for whatever reason, you have the best chance of success with the first one. And our semen sample numbers weren't great with that first one, so that kind of gave me hope for maybe doing a 2nd and a 3rd one, but the numbers were really good last time and it still didn't work. So I don't want to keep on throwing money at this when we could be using that money either to look into and pursue IVF or to use towards more testing to figure out what's going on. On cycle day 3, I went and got my blood drawn. I went and did an ultrasound. Everything looked good. Last cycle, they had thought on cycle day 3 that I might have a cyst, but they weren't completely sure. They just wanted to keep an eye on it, and they didn't say anything about it when I went in for my mid-cycle ultrasound, so I'm assuming that it wasn't a cyst and it just was a follicle that was already maybe like a little bigger than normal. But this time there was nothing. They didn't note anything of concern. My blood work came back normal. So on Wednesday, this past Wednesday, I went and did my mid-cycle ultrasound, And my endometrial lining is the thickest that it's been since they've been monitoring me. I guess that's a good sign. I've said this before. I don't know why it matters this early on, but apparently it does. And I could see in my scan results that there is one follicle on my right side that's in the 20 millimeter or greater section, but I didn't know exactly how big it was until they called me. So when the nurse called me Wednesday afternoon, I thought something was wrong just based on her voice, which wasn't exactly true. Nothing was wrong. She was just like, "Hey, hun, how you doing?" So it already like put me on alert. Basically what she told me was that that follicle was 28 millimeters, and what they want to see is a follicle that's between like 18 and either 22 or 24. I can't remember which. This was bigger than what they would ideally want to see. Anything smaller than 18 likely doesn't have a fully mature egg in it, but anything bigger than 22 or 24 could potentially have like an overly mature egg. But the nurse did reassure me that there's no way to know. There's no way to know unless you're doing like IVF what is inside that follicle and what the quality of the egg in the follicle is. So she was like, if you want to go ahead and go forward with it, your doctor's fine giving this round a shot and just seeing what happens. And she was like, I've seen it all. They like to tell me that they've seen it all. But that's what she said. And she was like, I've definitely seen people get pregnant with follicles that are bigger than what we want to see. And sometimes it doesn't happen. But she also said, if you want to skip this month and wait next month to see what happens, we can do that too. I said no. I was like, let's just go ahead and try it, because the last 2 cycles, my follicle or follicles, because the first cycle there was like 2, potentially 3. They were all the right size and we didn't end up getting pregnant. And what I didn't want to happen is for us to wait until next month and to potentially have the exact same thing happen, and then it would just feel like we wasted time. Plus, we already have an appointment in just a little over 2 weeks with our doctor. I wanted to go ahead and make that in advance, and they actually were on board with that. Like when we were getting everything scheduled before the IUI, just like scheduling my first and my second ultrasound, they were already saying like, let's get you scheduled with doctor just in case. And if you get pregnant, great, we'll cancel it. And if not, you already have something in the books so that you can discuss next steps. So that is where we're at. They also told me because of the size of the follicle, they recommended doing the IUI sooner instead of later. So that's why Wednesday I had the mid-cycle ultrasound. Right after they called me, they told me to go ahead and trigger, and then we did the IUI almost 24 hours exactly later. They did say that we could do it today. It wasn't like their first choice because they don't want my body to begin like breaking down the follicle. Basically, they don't want me to start ovulating on my own, and then the IUI might be like too late. Honestly, I don't feel super confident about this cycle working. It's just a matter, for me at least, of doing our I don't think due diligence is the word, but following through with the treatment plan that we agreed to. We agreed to trying 3 IUIs, so I want to go ahead and finish that so that we can say with confidence, like, we gave that treatment our best shot and it did not work. 3 times it didn't work. So let's move on to the next thing. I'm a little nervous about what the next thing might be. I definitely have my reservations for both the options, IVF and just pursuing more testing, but right now, there's a butterfly. I feel good about letting that be something to think about if and when that comes, if that makes sense. Alex and I have already briefly talked about next steps, not like making a decision, but just talking over like what options are we both open to, because I told him like what I don't want to do is go into the meeting with our doctor or the regroup and acting like we're completely dumbfounded and like we haven't even thought that ending up back there was even a possibility. So I wanted to at least have some conversations as far as like, what are we open to? Like, what are we possibly willing to pursue so that we know when we speak to him, like, yes, this is a possible option, this is a possible option, or like, no, there's no reason to discuss this at all because it's not even an option for us. And what I learned from that is he and I are both on the same page in that, at least right now, we're open to both routes, and it's just a matter of talking to the doctor, possibly getting a second opinion as well, and, regrouping just between Alex and I and determining what is the best road for us. I'm gonna go ahead and end this vlog here. Please give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed watching. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.